Oomph. And it's going to be a little like blip. Yeah, that's the 365 Message Center show. Okay. Well, this is the Office 365. Oh no, it isn't. It's the it's still getting it wrong, man. It just flows off the tongue. 365 Message Center show. Mm. And you know,
Correct.
I mean, they're just thrown into confusion because what did we get a title change as an MVP? It was now we're the
Yes. We're
what was
now
it called?
Office apps and services MVPs.
No more servers. Or,
No more services. No more
no more
servers.
servers. Ugh.
No more servers. Right.
Yeah, no, which is not true. I mean, there's plenty on prem, I'm sure.
There's
But
there's plenty. Yes.
yeah, that was it was an all-encompassing move to bring other kind of specialities around the different applications, OneNote, Word, PowerPoint,
Yep.
etc. And you know we can make our contributions across the world. Anyway, enough of that.
That's right.
And name changes. I'm still Daryl, and you're still
I'm Daniel.
okay.
Hi.
And we have we got a Nashville, the home of, saying today.
Well, let's just go with Nashville, the home of the Grand Ole Opry. I'll just go with that.
Hmm.
If you don't know what the Grand Ole Opry is, please look it up. It's fantastic.
You're not going to tell us. Never mind.
Well, it's a long running show and live event with and it's an organization kind of like the Hall of Fame a little bit. Not it's not the Hall of Fame, but it's kind of
Hmm.
like the Hall of Fame of country and Western music. And it's a show that's been running for decades. It started on AM radio. Now it's a live show you can go to, and they have all the big stars are members, and then they put on shows, put on music shows. So it's fun.
Hmm. Sounds a bit
Yeah.
like the night at the proms. I know that's only a one once a year thing, but it's a an English thing, like a variety show,
Okay.
right?
Right. Okay.
Okay, well, this is a variety show. We have a lot of variety, but we do
We do.
center we do center around
Yes.
messages in the message center,
Yep.
and as always, we're trying to create some awareness around what is coming into your tenant. Remember, the message center is all about your tenant, and it's also drawing attention to things that are coming, things that may
Hmm.
have already been delivered. So there's sometimes little apologies there, things that you might need to prepare for,
Yep.
and things that sometimes aren't in the message center. So let's dive right in. Ugh. Yeah, deep dive. All right. Here we go. We've got a few messages, and look,
Yep.
to be honest, um, I think sometimes you as a systems admin will go through a message in the message center and think, what is that? I know this applies to my tenant, but what does this actually mean? I've really got to do some reading. So hand on heart,
Yeah.
I'll say that there are some in here that I'm like, what is this again?
Yep.
Starting with Office.com conditional access policy behavior. I know what policy the conditional access is, but apparently there
Right.
was something in there which wasn't quite working correctly, and they've made some changes, and now it works correctly. Conditional access,
Right.
really useful when you want to be able to access Office 365, but you don't have to be pestered by a login. You can configure your environment so that when you're logging in from work, it just does a pass through. And so you're not logging in through a web page, you're not like logging in second time, third time into different services. It just knows where you are. And likewise, when you are outside of work, then it's going to ask for that login. It
Right.
just knows because of where you are on the network. That's one of the basic conditions that's available. I know there are
Right.
others, but that's useful. Now, this announcement talks about it not working correctly with the Office.com login page. You get routed to an error page instead of an authenticated Office.com page. Was it before making this change, users that successfully logged in but didn't meet the conditional access conditions would be routed to an error page. Got it. So you would log in, but you didn't quite meet the conditions. You're there, and you're not seeing
Right.
something that's nice and friendly. It's just you got no clue really as to what's happening. So
Right.
looks
So
like
they're
they
just
fixed that.
cleaning this up. That's what. Yeah, and that's. I'm right there with you. I did not experience this what they're resolving here, but they're cleaning this up and making it to where you don't get this error.
Mm, mm. Hey, we're joined by Sebastian, Phil, and Dean. Looks like
Hello,
Sebastian's at
Sebastian.
Inspire.
He
Um,
definitely is.
yeah, let's just see if we can bring that up on the screen there. Oh, that's taking a little while to load. We'll come back to that. Yeah, good to be to join. Have been joined by you guys. Oh, there it's loading up. Let us know if you've had some experience around conditional access there. Live people in the chat room. But yeah, that's it's good that at least if you can have something that loads up and actually makes a lot more sense. There's another one that has been asked in a project that I'm working on, where when you do sign in, you've got your own customized login page, but if you sign out, you're still left with the standard one that is part of the 365 environment. And I guess it was a branding question more than anything, that you didn't have your own customized login and log out page. That it sort of didn't display. Anyway, we do have those customization requests.
Yep.
Yeah.
We
Actually,
do.
the good thing about those pages when you do have them customized is that it's yet another way of saying you are logging into a genuine page. It's not someone who's faking the login page. So as a security measure, you be a good idea to change it.
Yeah, as long as you, I think if you're going to use that, it's what, and we talked about this, I guess, last week or the week before, but that's great for you to kind of get an idea that, yes, this is genuine. And we talked about this, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago, because we were talking about being able to customize emails and adding your branding to the emails coming from 365. But here, I think you're right, as long as you change it. Because if I'm a hacker, I'm not a hacker. If I'm trying to phish, I will go to your login page and go, oh, look, it's been customized. I'm going to mimic that exact same thing, So make sure I would say it's one of those, if you're going to use it and that's the reason why, or one of the reasons why you want to use it, change it frequently.
Yep.
But
Good point.
anyway.
Good point. Next one
Intune.
is Intune. It's not something I did have it enabled in my tenant, fellow audience peeps. I turned it on because I was exploring it. I also did a demonstration or two, but sort of cut back that on my own demo tenant, and I used to get additional messages around Intune. Now that it's off, I've still got this one. Because there is a level of these sorts of things that is still in place with an E3 or an E5 license. Haven't really read too much into this around, OneDrive on Android is allowed account Intune app. Org allowed account Intune app configuration. How does this affect me? I know this is a bit lame. Daryl's having to read the message, and you've probably read it yourself. But with respect, a new setting that will allow users to only connect org-defined OneDrive accounts to enrolled devices. Got it. Okay. So OneDrive, we can connect our personal OneDrives. Maybe we belong to a few different Office 365 tenants. Let's say you're studying, and so you go to a university or college, which is using 365. I know, I've got to translate.
Sorry.
And you work at a place that uses 365, then you can create a policy that says, no, I only want you to be able to connect to the work OneDrive on this work-issued device.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. No, that's good. People see sometimes that being able to connect to multiple OneDrives is a leakage vector. If you aren't using those policies that prevent you from copying and pasting, to other
Right.
apps, then maybe. But we all know that you can just screenshot something. Um,
Yep.
but yeah,
That is definitely one way, or use your mobile and just take pictures. I
yeah,
mean,
it's my spy cam now.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to pull out those crazy little things in James Bond movies and go, and now it's just a.
Right.
Anyway, so that kind of rounds that one up. But it is good to
Yep.
see. Oh, that it's come to Android and it hasn't come to iOS yet. So anyway, it's good to see that sometimes
Yep.
different platforms get that attention first. How about you take this one, Dan? This is the
Sure.
adding LinkedIn data.
Yeah, was announced a while back, bringing in LinkedIn data. Microsoft owns that data, and bringing that LinkedIn data via the People Card. So when you look at person's information, who they are, bringing in LinkedIn data as well. And this is the announcement for Outlook in iOS and Windows. I think one thing that's interesting about this is if you look at it says to track when changes will start rolling out in Outlook for here Windows and iOS, then refer to the roadmap items. And if you open those up, the roadmap item for bringing into iOS is August of this year, so next month, right? But if you look at the one for Windows, it's still listed as Q4. So we're getting they had made this announcement for bringing this in, mostly I think for the iOS, because they're going to do that first, but then Q4 for Windows. Now you clicked on the more information, the additional information link,
Yes.
which I think is interesting that it links to a post talking about how you disconnect your LinkedIn and Microsoft accounts. It doesn't really talk about what is going on here. It's oh, you want to turn it off? Okay,
Yeah.
here you go. Here's
Yeah.
how the information. So I thought that was interesting as well. If you click the additional, that's what you're taken to. But I don't necessarily think that's a great idea. I think it would be great to actually link to a post about what this new People Card information is going to give us. But anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, there is a certain style of system administration which would love to see this as a default way of answering additional information. This is a feature in here, so how to turn it off. And then we'll
Right.
tell you what it is later and how to use it. But yeah, it is something that was talked about at Ignite last year in terms of bringing that information through, and that it's just some of the basics around your work history, but not really getting too deep into I think some of the fear was, oh no, if I start applying for another job, is it going to bring through some alerts through to my organization and show
No,
me some changes?
the thing that I'm looking for though is I'd really like to have skills and expertise. Because we have this profile information in 365 that you have to manually keep up. It would be great to keep up with that just in LinkedIn and have it be available for people to use and tap in when they're in the different 365 applications. Stuff like that. That's what I would like to do, so to reduce my workload rather than having to keep up with everything. So,
Or when someone writes an article or a post, maybe you could choose to bring those sorts of things through. Do you when you say skills, you don't mean the endorsements, do you?
no. No.
What are you endorsed for anything crazy?
No. Well, I think there's maybe one or two where it's like, and I've actually cleaned those up. I think endorsements, maybe having some sort of where you have endorsements that you have confirmed, that you say yes. But I would really like for that stuff to, like I said, I don't want to enter it twice, so it'd be great if it did work that way. So,
yeah, good point. But yeah, it's good to see that finally coming through, and we'll check in with the Outlook mobile app. And I was going, look, so I guarantee you, I haven't seen you or met you before, so let's look you up in the directory. And look, we can go through and we can see your organizational chart, and we can, look, there's some people that you work with and people that are you report to, and like, who's that? I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Nice.
Already introducing you to a new team. Good stuff.
Yep.
What we got here? We've got okay, so this is on the OneDrive file card.
That's right.
So we see some from shared by me and show weekly trends and daily views and viewers on a file.
Yeah, and I don't have this yet. I was wanting to show it, but it is nice because when you share a file, whether that's internally or externally, it would be great if you knew people actually looked at it, right? And how many views, and is it trending up? Did I share it out and then immediately everybody was looking at it and now it's not being looked at, or just kind of getting some metrics around that. So this was announced a little while back, and now we are seeing it. It'll be coming in. Again, I don't have it yet, but and this is one of those, I think. Let me look at the targeted release in early July, which we're mid-July now, and I still don't have it. But this is one of the announcements we have this week, that it's early July, yay! Like not a whole lot of a lead-up time for us, warning. But anyway, so this one I really enjoy. Again, we talked about last week how I want more insight into what's going on within my tenant and my files, and so this is another way that we get to see that. So this one actually does have a really good blog post on it, and you brought it up there. Shows you exactly what it's going to look like. If you scroll down a little bit there, Daryl, right there, see how it shows this item is popular with your colleagues in the screenshot. It shows you how many views and who's viewed it. This is really good information, so that you can, again, if you've shared a file out to 5 people and you expect them to actually look at it and they haven't, then this gives you an opportunity to follow up with them and say, hey, I really need you to look at this file, to give you. So anyway, I like it.
Do we have something like this for just SharePoint document libraries at the moment? I know you can see, number of views and that sort of thing, can't you?
Yeah. So this is just OneDrive and this is in the shared by me special view. So
yeah. And look, are you using OneDrive as a mobile app?
I am.
Yeah. Do you sometimes, when you share out a file like this, do you sometimes get the prompt when someone has edited that document? You get a push notification?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that one quite useful too. Kind of along the similar thinking. I've just shared this document with 5 people, and I've asked for some feedback to be entered into the document, and I know when people have done so, because I get that little prompt off the mobile. But I only get it off the mobile. I don't get it in a notification. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting them. I'm getting them a lot right now. I'm working on a presentation with one of our fellow regarding 365 cohorts. We have a co-presentation in New York City in a little less than 2 weeks. So we're working on presentation. I'm getting a lot of those notifications, actually. So
actually, there's another one a bit like that. When you've got a level of security on in your tenant, I think this is on the E5 license. It detects things and thinks it's a threat, or it will say, "Look, this is a possible threat. Do you want to check it out?" So I get those occasionally, and I know it's not quite related, but it is about accessing files, and I see them when someone is accessing a OneDrive file, which is actually a folders and collection of files, and it throws this alert and says, "Oh, look, someone's accessing this too many times." I'm like, well, no, they're actually just going through the regular behavior they do with a OneNote file. So anyway, interesting to see that.
Yep.
All right, so we've got some. Oh, that's right. Yes, so news pages in SharePoint,
Yep.
and we write them. We create them, and I am using them right now in terms of trying to draw attention to certain content in a communication site.
Yeah.
Good to see that we now have page approvals.
Yeah, this is functionality that we've had in SharePoint for a long time. This is bringing it to the modern experience to be able to do page approvals with using a flow, Microsoft Flow, built in. So in a page library, you'll be able to select the Flow integration bar right in the page in the library, and it'll be one of the options to be able to set up automatic approval flows for pages. And this is great. I think again, actually referring back to that presentation we're putting together for New York City, we're actually using a communication site, and we're using the news pages. We're using pages to highlight content. And this is going to play really well into our scenario that we're going to be demoing of how to use this to highlight the presentation's actually on Microsoft Flow. But it's not about how to, this in particular, it's about how to highlight flows that you've created for your organization. But anyway, these page approvals is fantastic to bring in that capability that we've kind of been wanting back since the launch of the modern experience, to be able to allow people to create content within your organization that don't have publish rights, right? Have a gatekeeper that is managing, maybe in the communications department, but then have people within each department who want to create news be able to create items, and then it goes through an approval process, so it actually gets pushed out to the organization. So this is a fantastic
communication sites.
This is for modern, for communications. Yeah.
Okay, so where you are making use of the news feature in your team site, whether it be attached to a 365 group, a Microsoft team, a Yammer team group, anyone in the team can create a news article. So that's cool. That means that it's for us, it's for our team. No harm done there. But if you are using a communication site as a way of communicating with the org, it makes sense to have that sort of gated publishing capability to approve or disapprove or ask for feedback.
I'm rolling it out right now with a client. So to be able to allow others to create news items and then have an approval process.
I couldn't find a communication site quick enough to see, or at least point to, here's where the flow is. So, it is one of those things that maybe isn't there yet. So we'll come back to it. All right. We've got
one more.
Yeah. Idle session timeout is now available for SharePoint and OneDrive for Business. Which
idle session sign out.
Oh, sign out.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is for those organizations that want to manage when someone is not logged in using a organization device. Then you can set when they will be signed out of the service. So if they're using your SharePoint site on a kiosk or their uncle's computer while on vacation or whatever, then being able to automatically sign them out so that it can't be used. So great security policy, really, is what this is for.
Now, that you could call that conditional access, wouldn't you? Because it's checking that condition. Is this a company computer?
It's just a setting tied to that, right? Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff. Yep. Now, we did have a little bit of time left to look at some of the other announcements.
Yes.
Thank you, Dan, for gathering these. The interesting thing about this, Dan, you pointed out that these are things that have been announced and are available now in the in your tenants, and they've been talked about in the tech community, but they were talked about in previous Message Center announcements. So the feature's done the full circle. One of them was Microsoft Whiteboard becoming generally available. I have tried this out. I think that it has potential for some good collaboration across the wire with remote teams, and we haven't really got into the habit of just firing it up yet during a meeting. I would say that it is a separate app, so you have to think about it and be in the habit of starting to use that for your meeting. Whereas if it was something built into the application, it would just be there. The downside to that is if it's built into the application, then the whole app has to be updated to update the whiteboard feature. Whereas if it's a separate app like the whiteboard, then you can put more focus on it, I guess. I think that's the thinking they're having with splitting out Edge from Windows. So we'll see where that goes. But whiteboard, so for those who haven't seen it, play the video, or this sort of thing here where I'm signed in and I've allowed it for my tenants. So I'm signed in as Daryl at Adopt and Embrace. I could be having a meeting here and just sort of drop the email address in. We've got various different pens, of course, and stuff that I can draw on it like a real whiteboard. But I can also drop in pictures and add things to the page, and it's really about trying to make it a place to put stuff and get ideation going and dropping things in. Yes, it's a picture of an egg on toast, Dan, so I won't... I love how it goes straight to my camera roll. Impressive. And it's, but it could be that we are thinking about how can we better sell eggs. So we'll move on. The next one there, Dan, what sort of excitement is around this one?
Well, it was announced this past week that Microsoft is now providing a way for people to get their hands on Microsoft Teams for free. This is what everyone is calling Microsoft's competitor to Slack. I'm pretty sure Microsoft is not positioning it in marketing that way, because they probably don't want to mention their competitor's name in the in their tag. But a lot of people are positioning in this way. I think there are some differences in what they're providing and what Slack does provide, especially with the storage, both with documents and the number of messages. So, but this is cool. This is for those small and maybe some medium-sized organizations that want to get in and use Teams and start to realizing the potential that it has. But yeah, it's the free version is up to 300 users.
And they give you a bit of storage to start with. For the team, for each person, you can get some of the basics like obviously conversations, storing your files, having meetings. But it is also a feeder into, hey, do you want a full subscription of Office 365?
They definitely run a upsell.
Yeah,
definitely.
Because it doesn't come with a mailbox, so you're unable to schedule things like meetings. But yeah, it's still really, really functional. And the mobile app has been updated too, so you can get signed in with a free account. I think the other thing that it opens up is, let's say you are an organization which is using Teams and you want your guests to have the full team experience. If they come in and join in that meeting, then they have an option to sign up for a free account, and then they can use that rather than necessarily being stuck in a web browser. Because at the moment I think the best experience is in the Edge web browser. They haven't quite brought Chrome and Firefox up yet. Yeah.
So there's some. We got. Apparently, there's an issue signing up for it. Phil has mentioned in the chat room.
Yeah.
That he tried using his Hotmail account, and it just goes in a loop.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So the comment is that it's supposed to be for any account where
anyone.
Yes. But I think that's one that, look, if you think about it, it's a Microsoft account, so there's that sort of thought that if we're signing in and trying to access documents, you used to have to sign up for a Microsoft account to get access. So it's kind of it is consumer, but it's still part of that ecosystem. It sounds like it does need a bit of work. We're about on time. Just to finish off here, there was one that of course I was excited about, which was Microsoft Stream and intelligent, large meetings. Really, I know they're throwing this word "intelligent" in there a lot.
A lot, yes.
Yeah, a lot. So think of a Skype broadcast, in that you are able to have larger meetings of up to 10,000 people. And chuckle there.
Yeah.
But you can start up a meeting within Teams, within Stream, even from Yammer, and the idea is that you'll have an event page, and you can broadcast to your whole company. Eventually, you can invite in guests as well. Some people are wondering, okay, when is the public way of being able to share this like you can with Skype broadcast? But the idea is that you can do a fully produced show, and potentially like this show that Dan and I are doing, you could do within Teams. You could do just the basic version where you can say, I'm sharing my screen, I'm switching around between the presenters, and I'm pushing that to an audience. Or you can use OBS, a fully featured thing. And lastly, the advantage there is too that any chat that's going on within the event, or let's say even before the event, during and after, is all kept there on the page, the event page. And I've heard that it's powered by Yammer, and so there's some questions around there with some orgs saying, oh well, what if we've stopped using Yammer? Is that going to be an issue? We'll see that. Steve Collier asks, when do we expect it to replace broadcast, or when do we replace this with Teams broadcast?
Well,
I think this is what Teams broadcast is going to be, because Teams broadcast was just a rebadged Skype broadcast.
That's right.
And this is going to be the replacement. But in saying that, the Skype broadcast, I've read, is going to hang around for a bit longer to make sure that capability is there. And I've even seen, look, under the covers, it looks like you have to be licensed if you want to be a presenter. On this system, you have to be licensed for Skype for Business Online. Even though it doesn't feel like it uses it, it's probably leveraging some of that Skype broadcast stack still.
Well, I think if you remember, the broadcasting, even from Teams, right? We were told Teams client's going to replace Skype for Business client eventually, but Skype for Business technology is still underpinning that. So, if it's, I'm wondering if that's kind of that same, they're just bringing Stream and Teams and Yammer together to deliver this. The biggest thing for me for this, not biggest, but one of the big things for this is the AI stuff about speech to text and closed captions and, that all that kind of functionality that you'll get with this capability. Now, remember, that functionality is with a higher level of option for Stream, but I'm really looking forward to as part of these capabilities.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, Stephen was asking replace YouTube with Teams. Like this show.
Are you kidding? No, we won't do that. Like when we push it out to YouTube, and we'll just sort of finish off here. Of course, when we're pushing it out to YouTube, it makes our content more discoverable. So I initially thought that one of the capabilities will be to allow you to push to Stream, but also push to another RTMP source like YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope, for example. I was wrong. That's not what it is. You don't have dual streaming capabilities. But yeah, we will still be on YouTube at Regarding 365. Actually, if you have a look up on the top right-hand corner, you'll see the link for the new episode that we've got on next week, and we've added another playlist. Our friends Damien Margaritis and Lauren Strant are doing a series, or have been doing a series, called Talking Teams. So check that out. There's 5-minute bites there as they update us around Teams stuff specifically and what it means to your organization.
And if everybody, actually, I wanted to throw in a little soundbite on, if everybody here that's listening will go out to danielglenn.com/YouTube. That's my personal YouTube channel, where I do a lot of videos of catching up on hands-on stuff. So that's danielglenn.com/YouTube. There we go. Self-promotion.
All right. And have you got enough followers yet to get your own vanity domain?
Oh no, I'm just starting out, so I think I have like 7 followers. So
follow Daniel.
Just
Help them get to
started.
100.
That's right. Well, it's actually over 100 now. It's 1,000 to get
All
your own
right.
band. Yeah.
Oh, is
So
it? Oh,
yeah, I'm
dang.
not looking to get that many right now. I'm just would love to
Uh,
have people join me over there. So
okay. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us in the chat room, our
yes,
friends there. And for those of you who are at Inspire, do update us with what's happening over there.
yep.
And we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.
See ya.